In working with thousands of couples over more than a decade, there is one simple theme, approach, construct, framework, whatever you want to call it, technique that has moved the needle for these couples more than anything else I do with couples. It's something I talk about with every couple I ever talk about. It's stuff that we deal with and manage inside our marriage membership community. It's what we talk about when we're on these 4-day marriage retreats. It's what I talk about in counseling one-on-one with couples, in classes. This one thought or approach will help couples who feel disconnected and are wanting more connection, intimacy in the relationship. This helps couples who are struggling with conflict. They can't seem to resolve stuff. They get stuck in cycles. This helps couples who don't communicate very well. This helps couples who are having a hard time managing their differences around communication or conflict. You may have one that loves to talk about and deal with things, another one who avoids conflict. Maybe you have one that is more organized and likes to plan, the other one's more spontaneous. So whether it's managing differences, whether it's trying to figure out how to become more connected, build the friendship in marriage, resolve conflict in marriage, this one thing is the key that helps more couples with anything else I do with couples, and it's the idea of establishing their relationship rhythm. I believe every marriage needs a rhythm that works for them based on their schedules, based on their season of life, based on their unique personalities, based on the unique dynamics of their specific relationship in marriage. And if couples do not have a relationship rhythm, they are leaving their relationship up to chance, and very rarely does marriage go well if you don't have some level of intentionality in it. So in this video, I want to explain what that relationship rhythm looks like. And more than that, I've got a resource down below in the description area called Uncovering Your Relationship Rhythm, which is a workbook that you can download for free that will help you establish a rhythm for your relationship. So if you have no regular rhythm in your relationship at all, I can promise you things are probably not where you want them to be. Now, I know some couples that have a little bit of a rhythm, say they have a weekly date night and we commit to that. That's good. And that's a start. And that is a rhythm. But I do not think that's enough of a rhythm. So in this workbook that's below, it will help you answer 3 questions that I think are key to the relationship rhythm. Number 1 question is, what are the things that make you each feel cared for and connected? You need to identify those. This workbook will help you identify those, whether that's love languages, emotional needs, or the specific things that make you feel like you're connected to your spouse. Those are different for each person most of the time. And certainly those are different for every relationship and relationship dynamic. So you need to find what is unique to you, your spouse, and the two of you together in a relationship that keeps you connected. That's one question you need to ask. Another question you need to ask is, what are the things that are causing disconnection or causing conflict? If you can't identify the roots and what those things are, then you can't eliminate those things. That's the second question. And the third one is, what is your intentional plan to make sure that the answers to number 1 are occurring on a regular basis and the answers to number 2 are being addressed so they can be removed. So if you've heard some of my other videos, you've probably heard me talk about the concept of, I see marriage as kind of a plant or a garden. You've got to continue feeding it and you've got to continue weeding it. And so what this relationship rhythm will help you do is identify what feeds it and identify the weeds that are choking or preventing growth so that those can be dealt with and removed. A relationship rhythm will help you ensure that the right things are happening at the right times in the right ways so that you feel connected to your spouse in the marriage. It will also help you determine when we are having the conversations and how we are dealing with the conflicts and the struggles and the areas of our relationship that cause disconnection, and making sure those are prioritized and they're not happening at the same time. Because here's what happens. If you do not have a relationship rhythm, I can tell you what happens in your relationship. The difficult business, logistical, problem-solving, conflict-resolving conversations will take over the connecting, fun part of your relationship. That's everybody. That's not unique to you. That's not unique to me. That happens to everybody. Why? Because those pain points will be dealt with. Just like if your tooth hurts, you're going to go to the dentist. If everything feels fine, your incentive and motivation to go is not as strong. If you got a pain that you can't figure out and can't deal with, you're going to go to the doctor. If everything feels good, you may not go in for your yearly checkup because you just don't make time for it and it's not a priority right now and blah, 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 blah. So what's going to happen in every marriage is the business side of marriage is going to overtake the fun relational side of marriage if you don't have a rhythm. If you establish a rhythm, guess what? You make sure you're protecting the parts of the relationship that you really love, while at the same time, you're dealing with the issues that are causing problems. Let me give you some examples, and then I'm going to send you on your way with some homework to establish your own relationship rhythm. So you take a couple where maybe one is conflict avoidant, the other one loves to step into it, and guess what happens in that relationship? The conflict avoidant person at some point begins avoiding conversations with their spouse because like every time we have a conversation, they're bringing something up and that just doesn't feel good and I don't like that. So I start avoiding conversation with them. When you avoid conversation with them, all you're doing is ensuring whenever they do get a moment with you, they got to bring up the stuff because they don't know if they're going to get another moment with you. What a rhythm will help you do is you establish a specific time called a staff meeting, in which that time we're going to address some of the logistics. We're also going to address the areas of conflict in the relationship. We're going to ask for feedback from one another. How'd I do this week? Working on the areas that we have talked about we need to address. And when we have a regular time for that, the person who loves addressing conflict now does not have to bring it up all throughout the week, over dinner, on your date night, because they know they have a set time in the rhythm to deal with the stuff they want to deal with. And the person who doesn't like conflict knows, okay, I can manage to go into that one meeting and have those conversations I don't like. And guess what? It frees me up other nights of the week. I don't have to worry about, like, I walk downstairs to get a snack and I accidentally make eye contact with my spouse and all of a sudden they're hitting me with 97 questions and they want to know why we didn't do this. And then you stop coming downstairs, you stop making eye contact, you start avoiding your spouse. So a rhythm where you set up a specific time to deal with the difficult things will free up other aspects of the relationship, which means you also establish as part of that rhythm when sometimes we can connect. That also works great for couples where you have one who's a planner, one who's more spontaneous. They don't like the planning conversations. Do them at a staff meeting at an intentional time, and it will free both of you up. The planner will get the conversations they're worried about not getting, and the spontaneous person knows I can step into that moment and I don't have to worry about 57 questions all throughout the rest of the week. This can help couples in so many areas where they're different, and it also helps to make sure that we are establishing times like date nights. Maybe it's quiet time at the end of the evening. Maybe it's time watching movies together. Maybe it's time playing games, taking walks, whatever it might be. You've got, as part of your relationship rhythm, you've got established times to connect. Because guess what? If we don't, we can be in the same house, we can be in proximity, we can be around each other all the time and still not feel connected because we don't know the intentional activities and acts from our spouse that make us feel connected, cared for, and loved. We've got to establish that in a rhythm. So if you do not have a relationship rhythm, I am telling you, you're missing out on the number one key to having a great relationship and the number one tool to make sure that what needs to be happening in a marriage to keep you connected is happening in a regular basis. And what needs to be dealt with in the marriage, the conflict, the logistics, the problem solving, is also being done, but at the right time. So it's not taking over all the good moments when you need to be connecting. We've got to ensure that the problem-solving moments are happening. That's part of the rhythm. We've got to ensure that the connection moments are happening. That's part of the rhythm as well. So what I want you to do is I want you to get off this video. And normally I say, hey, go watch another video. Now I don't want you watching another video. I want you to download the Uncovering Your Relationship Rhythm workbook. This is in the description area below. And I want you to work through it with your spouse. Now, it's going to help you identify different acts and attributes and activities that will make you feel connected. It's going to help you brainstorm and identify what are the things that are keeping us disconnected and separated so we can begin to work on those things. And it's going to help you to establish a relationship rhythm. I promise you, your relationship will be better for it. You are getting a free guide that normally is going to cost $400, $500, $600, $700 in one-on-one counseling with me to walk this thing out. It's yours free, and if you apply it, you can change and turn your relationship around just by establishing a relationship rhythm. Experts say it takes most couples 8 to 12 years to slowly fall into their relationship rhythm. Unfortunately, as you know, the 7-year itch. The majority of divorces happen in the first 7 years before they ever establish their rhythm. So I want to help you establish your rhythm, whether you've been married 2 months or you've been married 20 years. We have to keep revisiting, because the rhythm that worked in the last season is probably not going to work in the next season. The rhythm that worked when you had no kids doesn't work when you have 1 kid, doesn't work when you have 3 kids, doesn't work when you have 2 jobs, doesn't work when medical issues hit. So you have to continually revisit your rhythm and establish something that is going to keep you connected and also allow you to resolve conflict in a healthy and effective way. So I don't know what you're waiting for. Quit looking at me, quit listening to me. Get on the download now, and I'll see you in the next video.